Hello, you guitar players on the YouTube, and you want to know how to play the lick. You've seen the lick by many guitar players by now. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the first video where we talk about the just one more keyboardy kind of synth lick that I have loads of people test. Now, I asked more people than in the end sent me stuff, because some didn't get anywhere, and they were too lazy. You know who you are. So this last video, and I have, not 4 this time, but 3 more entries. And I couldn't be happy about the people that I got. There might be people you're not aware of, but you should know about them, because what amazing people. One of them is actually someone who watched the first videos and did his own solution and sent it to me. And that's Barney, and he's coming at the very end. We're gonna start with my dear friend, Millisa Henderson. Berkeley grad, what an amazing player she is. She is the quintessential rock and metal guitar goddess. I gotta say it. She's so amazing and such a lovely person. Now, Millisa did the impossible. She's tapping the whole thing, which I thought was impossible. She did a great video, and we're gonna look at her solution first. And of course, as always, all the PDFs are below. So just download it and look at the stuff in detail. But I think Millisa even put the tabs in her video. So here is Millisa Henderson.
Hello, people of the internet and of Henning's YouTube channel. My name is Millisa. I'm sure Henning probably already told you that. So a couple weeks ago, Henning had Facebook called me and asked about this lick. Told me his whole video idea, and I think it's the coolest thing in the world. It's just, you know, something different, something cool, and I've really enjoyed watching all the other videos and seeing everyone else's take on it. Anyways, so a lot of you probably don't know who I am. Maybe some of you do, because I've been on Henning's channel a couple of times. But my name's Millisa. I think I said that already. I just graduated from Berklee College of Music about a year ago. And, you know, navigating through the pandemic, I feel like I have really tried to take a lot of the knowledge that I gained from school and really sit down and start working through developing my technique and working on things that I really wanted to work on versus things I had to work on for school, which has been a really nice and refreshing experience. But how that applies to this is one of the things that I've always wanted to get better at and didn't really know where to start was like multi-finger tapping and tapping in general. And so the past few months and even almost a year, I've really been trying to hone in on that technique particularly. And so I feel like my approach has kind of stemmed from that, you know, in-depth study and research. And then also I've been reviewing a lot of material. I took a few semesters at Berkeley with Don Lappin, who is known around campus as Tappin' Lappin. You should definitely watch his videos if you haven't. His whole approach to just like guitar and shapes laid out on the neck in regards to tapping is insane and like really enlightening when you start to think about, you know, how to incorporate tapping into your playing in a musical way instead of just like a crazy shreddy way. So yeah, when Henning showed me this lick, I immediately went to tapping for all of the reasons I just listed, and also because I feel like when you play a keyboard lick on the guitar, if you use a pick, it sounds too guitar-y. And I know that's like a really weird thing to say, but I think without using the pick, you get that nice fluidity that a lot of synths and keyboards get. Whereas if you're using a pick, it sounds like you're trying to play a keyboard lick on the guitar. Not that tapping doesn't sound like that, but I don't know. If you get what I mean, then you get it. If not, then I'm probably crazy. Anyway, so I'm going to take this really slow, just so you can kind of watch my hands. I'm also closer to the camera, so hello. I'm just going to stare into your eyes for a moment. So I'm going to do this really slow, and then I'll break down similarly to a lot of the other people. I've viewed it in 4 little chunks where the first 3 are very similar, and then the last one is just a crazy party time. So within those, as I mentioned, I'm thinking of it 3 really similar sections and then the weird crazy section. So within those 3 sections, I have broken it down in my head into smaller sections. So I'm thinking of the first section as this little guy, and then the next section as, and then, so I'm thinking of it almost like my hands are just passing back and forth to each other. And so I'm using my ring finger and my middle finger for this, but you could easily use your index and middle as well, or whatever you're most comfortable tapping with. So I'm going tap, and then pass it back over to my other hand, and then hammer on out of nowhere, and then tap, hammer, hammer, tap, hammer, hammer, tap, tap, and then shift both hands down and go tap, hammer, tap. And then for the second section that starts out exactly the same, shifting down and going 12, 5, 13. So 12 on the first, 5 on the third, and then 13 on the second. And then for the third section, again, thinking of it in those 3 distinct little sections. And hammering off, and then tapping the 15th fret of the 5th string to pass it to the next section where we move our hammer-on hand all the way up here, so we're almost touching. Well, we basically are touching. We're kind of stepping all over each other, which is this part I actually had a lot of weird trouble with. I don't know. I tried a bunch of different ways to play it. I learned it Henning's way, and then I messed with how I could incorporate tapping into it because I didn't want to just stop tapping and then grab a pick, because I feel like that would change the timbre in a way that I personally wouldn't want in what I was trying to do with it. So I just tapped the C on the 15th fret there, and then went up for 13, 13 on the second and first strings, and then tap on the 15th fret of the 4th string. So then hammer on out of nowhere, and then actual hammer on, pull off, tap, hammer on out of nowhere, actual hammer on, then hammer on from nowhere on the 3rd string. And then we go up to 15, 15, 14. So 15 first, 15, and then 14, and then 17 tap, and then hammer on, tap, hammer, hammer. And that's it. So again, the last measure is kind of a little weird and probably not the most intuitive way to do it in the world, but feel free to try it. And I thought it was really fun. It was definitely a challenge. And have a great rest of your day. Subscribe to Henning and go practice.
How insane is that woman? Thank you, Millisa. Love you much. Next one is Jiri Rambousek. I don't even know where he's from. I knew it, and now I forgot. I want to say Romania, but that might be wrong. What do I know? Jiri, somewhere in the east. Not the far east, but the not so far east. He is an insane guitar player. I see him on Facebook all the time, so follow him on Facebook and Instagram, links below. He does full Malmsteen playthroughs and Petrucci and the stuff that nobody can play. He plays in perfection, which is why I asked him for this, because he's got the technique. And he follows a lot of what I did with a little bit of you know, tiny little twist, but pretty much he said, the way Henning played it is fine. So I'm not putting the tabs on his video, that's a lot of editing. They are below, the way he plays it is 1 or 2 fingerings different, but check out Jiri's version. Thank you, Jiri, for participating. You are an insane guitar player.
Hey guys, I'm Jiri Rambousek and this is my take on Crazy Henning Click. I had so much fun practicing it. I approached it my way because Henning's step was just unplayable, especially those absurd string skips. I can imagine myself practicing his version even to this day. I'm using alternate picking. I like the attack and the contrast it creates with the liquidy synth line. Let me break it down into little sections for you. We start with the section A. Start with a downstroke, then do the position shift and start with an upstroke. The section B is quite similar. Start with the downstroke again. The position shift is the same, but the string skip is larger, going from the B string all the way down to A string. Start this position shift with an upstroke again. Section C, similar again, start with the downstroke, but this time you make the position shift down the fretboard instead of up the fretboard. And now to the very last section, and I played the exact same way Henning has it written in his tab. Even though the rest of it is unreal and crazy, this spectacular section was kind of easy for me to play like that. Now let me summarize that for you. Downstroke, shift upstroke, downstroke, shift upstroke, downstroke, go lower, ending like Henning. I hope you had fun and the lesson was at least a bit helpful for you. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook, so make sure you check these out. I'd be glad. Take care, guys.
So, last but most certainly not least is someone who watched the first videos and said, I want to do this, and just out of the blue sent me their solution. His name is Barney Hinrichs. I think he is German. And what made me really happy is, in the video, he's playing a 7-string PJD. I'm like, wait a second, PJD? I got a PJD, he's got a PJD, we all got a PJD. He saw my video about the Carry Elite and then commented, hey, too bad you don't make 7 strings. And then he started talking to Lee Dovey from PJD Guitars and had his own custom PJD built. That's pretty damn cool. I'm gonna take full credit for that because I did that. No, I didn't, I just nudged him in the right direction. So, here's Barney. I love that you guys are involved in this. This is the last one in the series. Maybe at some point I do more. Lesson videos don't do well on this channel, which is kind of sad because isn't playing really what this is all about, not just buying the gear? Did he say it? Did he? He did. So, thank you, Barney. Here you go.
Yo, what's good, guys? It's Barney. Welcome back. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. Recently, a very good YouTuber, this guy here, Henning, uploaded a video about one of the solos of one of his songs, Just One More, I think it's called. where as a solo, or the beginning of a solo, he doubles a synth line, and he just found it quite difficult to play and put it out there for the world to make their own judgment and play their own versions. And this is essentially what this video is about. I'm first going to basically show you in a minute how the lick is played by myself, and then I'm going to talk you through everything, put the tabs up on screen. Henning's video, of course, is also linked down in the description below. Please check him out because it's his song. I'm just kind of sending you a reaction video in that sense. So now you've seen essentially my version of Henning's insane lick. Massive shout out to Henning. Thank you very much for making this publicly available. I had lots of fun doing this. Was very tricky. I still believe I can't really play it. I mean, you've heard it. I still can't play it perfectly, but it's good enough for me to say, okay, I'm going to present it to him, or you guys in this case. Quick heads up. So before I explain the tabs, which will be up on screen and linked below as well, to download for you. The way I like to play guitar is I don't like to shift or switch shapes up often. So when I have the possibility to, let's say, remain in shape, for in this case 10 and 7, I try to do that because I don't like switching around and then finding solutions to get back into that shape. So that's what I had in mind when designing those tabs or the way I played it. My initial thoughts on Henning's original tabs were that they were quite good, but I found them to be sounding a bit too much like the typical alternate picking, string skipping stuff. Just I think that's kind of a bit boring. So I had a look at his video a bit. I watched it a bit further, and Sam's version, Sam Bell, he made it sound fantastic because he incorporated a lot of slides and hammer-ons. And I think that was closest to what I had in mind when listening to this. So Sam's version, my version is essentially based off on Sam's, so compare those two if you look for a comparison. However, he also did a couple of shape switches sometimes where I'm like, why would you do that? And essentially I just made it fit my playing style a bit more. So I have even more hammer-ons and slides than he has. So let's start. We're going to start off with the first bar. I decided to play it down here on the D. So you start 10th fret D, first string. You start with playing the octave, very similar. Like, I think in the beginning nothing really changes compared to Sam's version. So you start with the octave here. Wait, that's the octave, and then you do the hammer and pull-off. Essentially, every new string, when I first touch it, is picked, and after that, I think most of the time, just pull-ups and slides. So you start off with this. And now once you're back here on the 10th fret second string, you don't go back, you don't do a pull-up, but you do a slide up. So you slide to the B, or B flat. There's, I think, my first change where he goes up to the 6th fret, but I do a slide here to get the A sharp here, to get the A sharp in here. So what I do is essentially this. And after the slide, I don't slide back, but I just hammer on with my ring finger. And then I have the C up here, which fits my, I think it's still a good shape. And then you get down on the C here, so you're playing an octave again, on the 4th string, so D string, which is quite tricky. So you have the octave here. And you go back up to the C, you leave your index finger here, and then play the D with your pinky. And that's essentially the first figure or the first shape I have in this lick. And so the beginning of the second figure is exactly the same as before. Just what you're changing now is that that you're not going up to the C here after, but rather to the E here, and still have to play the C on the 4th string, which is, in my opinion, the hardest part of this lick, or it was for me, because you then still have to go back to the C here, and that's kind of uncomfortable. I hope you can see what I mean. I'm just going to play it for you. That's the way I solved it. And you're essentially back to square one. And now you have, again, a repeat. And after that comes another portion with the big slides across the fretboard. So up till here, everything is the same. So you go back up, slide to the 11th fret, put your pinky here, and then you go down, index finger 9th fret, slide down to the 5, then pinky up on the 8th fret again. So essentially go, and you slide up to the 13th fret, and then you have essentially the same shape as before. So you're playing the octave. You're playing the octave again. Once you're up here on the E sharp and do the octave thing, things at the beginning are exactly the same as they were before. So what you're doing essentially is just playing the octave and then the hammer on and pull-ups again. So you do the... But now instead of going back to the E sharp, you play... what's that? That's an A here. So you play the A. Do a hammer on the A sharp, and then you use your ring finger to play the D, go back to the G here, and now you have to, unfortunately, stretch your finger again a bit. So you need to hit that G here, so you're octaving from here again, and from there on it's just a pull off again, so you pull off again back to the D. So you do the pull-off, go back to the D, leave your index finger here, use it as a beret, that's what I do. Hit the A here, hit the E with your ring finger 1st string, and now we get to a bit of sliding action. So you slide down without actually making a sound, you're muting the strings here. You go to the 9th fret 3rd string, slide up to 10th fret again. Ring finger, 13th fret 2nd string, so you're playing a C, and you're sliding back from C to B, so you're doing... And now you have to also do again a kind of a beret shape. You're going now to use your ring finger again to keep up on the E. And you're sliding down back to the D, so essentially it looks like this. And you're back to square one, and that's essentially where everything repeats. The only difference is that right at the end, before we go into the real solo, I don't re-slide back to the D here, but instead do a bending from C to D. So what I do is basically, essentially exactly the same, just with a different ending. And that's the way I played it. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And with that being said, until next time, whenever I upload a video again. See ya.
And that's it. That was all 3 of them. That's the series. 4 videos about playing the insane lick and all these different options. I love what I learned from this series. I love that my friends, Ben Eller, Jen Majura, Jack Gardner, I'm going to read this, Nico Schliemann, Sam Bell, Sammy Bowler, Steve Stein, Tom Quayle, Trey Xavier, Andy Wood, and Barney, and Ben, and Gus, and Jack, and Jen, and Yuri, we already covered all of them, that they all participated. Thank you so much. I hope you learned something, and if not, fuck off, learn other stuff. Animals at the end.
Look up to the sky.